Hey guys, what's up? This is Lewis Fanny, and this is part 1 of the J. Lewis remake tutorials. If you haven't checked out my other video, definitely go watch that before watching this because you might be a little confused. So, part 1 is going to be on drums and 808s. And, let's listen to J. Lewis's part first.
I'm coming back for good, so let them niggas know it's mine. Already got someone, that's what you tell them every time. That shit ain't up for grabs. Where you at on the map? I come to where you at. Fuck around and end up your last. I won't hope.
And then mine. Okay, so the first thing I noticed in his track was that his hi-hats were extremely low, and not just low in volume, but like low in pitch. So what I did is I found a sample that was already kind of low, and I threw that in the drum rack here. And every time you throw a sample in the drum rack, if you haven't messed with the default stuff, it's going to come out with a negative 12 decibel volume. So what I did is I just lowered that to negative 21 to get it really low.
I'm coming back for good.
And it's actually, I don't even think it's as low as his, but it's still pretty low. So I transposed it down 3 more, and then if you don't know this is a sampler, by the way, this section right here, and sampler comes in with a filter, and so instead of EQing, I just used the filter here, put a high pass on, and put around 1 kilohertz. And then I panned it to the right by 10, and then this part is a little weird, or you might not know what it is. Yes, this is a simple delay, but you might not hear any delay actually, but this is called the Haas effect, and what it does is it gives a stereo effect to whatever you add, drums, synths, hi-hats, snares, whatever. So I want this really far right, because I don't want this interfering with other sounds. So I'm going to show you quickly how to do this. Go to your audio effects, simple delay, change your syncs to time, your dry wet to 100%, drop your time down to 1 millisecond. And if you want it to go right, you raise the left time. If you want it to go left, change the right time. And so I just raised the left time up to like 8 milliseconds. And that's what I did for the hi-hat. The second thing is the snare, and his snare hits kind of hard. So I just went through my samples, and before I go on to the snare, I just want to say that samples are key. People like J. Lewis, I'm assuming, I've never actually talked to him or met him, has been sample digging for 5+ years and has probably gigabytes of drum samples. I mean, I have a decent amount already. I've only been doing this for like 2 years, so don't expect to find one sample pack that's just gonna make your sounds insane. Like, definitely just build your own sample pack, or just keep searching. So I found this snare in my samples, and since my hi-hats were going right, I wanted my snares to go left, so I panned my snares 15 to the left, raised the volume up to 1, transposed it down, or changed the pitch down to 3, and then I just high passed it around 200 hertz, and that's pretty much it for the snare.
Let them niggas know it's mine.
And then if you just heard right there, it's like there's a second snare going on. So I just found a different snare, and I didn't want it to stand out as much as this snare, so I lowered the sustain to negative 46 dB. Only raised the volume by a little bit because I didn't want to stand out, and then I threw this 20 to the left, and then I passed it around 200 again, get rid of the low frequencies, and then I lowered the release because it had a very weird tail to it, and I didn't want to. I just wanted it to be short, snappy, like that. And that's what I did for the snares. Third part of the drums right here is the kick, and
niggas know it's mine. Already.
I think I failed on the kick, I guess, as part of a remake. I don't feel like it's as close as it is. I probably could have picked a better sample, but I'll still go over what I did. I didn't mess with the filter here. I just transposed it down too to make it like a lower sound. Dropped the release down because the tail, and then raised the volume and added a compressor to it. And that's what I did for the first part of the drums. The second part of the drums. The only other thing that's added is this hi-hat part right here. It's like tss, tss. And I think he used the same sample, and then maybe on the second hi-hat, open hi-hat, he just pitched it up one, maybe. Let's have a listen again.
Shit up for grabs. Where you at on the map? I come to where you at. Fuck.
And I didn't do that, but I just had the same hi-hat. And if you have headphones, this is much easier to hear, but he actually has one panned all the way to the left and one panned all the way to the right. And I didn't say this before, but guys, pan your drums. I've talked to lots of producers, and I guess one thing that a lot of them say is panning, and I've never panned before, and it actually makes a big difference. So start panning, not all the way, but just subtle panning, it makes a big difference. And so let's get on to the 808s. Let's have a listen to Jay Lewis's part, 808. Just listen to the 808s.
Up for grabs. Where you at on the map? I come to where you at. Fuck around and end up your last. I won't.
If you don't know Jay Lewis, I think I said in the last video, definitely go check him out. His drums are insane, and his 808s are absolutely insane. So I try to get as close as possible, and a lot of you are asking how I did it, and it's actually not, what I did was not that hard. I feel like his is a lot more difficult, but I used an Ableton stock plugin called Hip Hop Bass. So for Ableton users, Control F. Oops. Hip Hop Bass, sub bass, and I used this. I just added some distortion, had the attack time up a little bit, and I lowered the sustain. And then add some EQ onto it, and just side chain it to the kick, and that's pretty much it.
You at on the map. I come where you at. Fuck around and end up your.
It's not as good as the 808, but it gets the job done. And I just lowered the volume a little bit here. And then for the gliding sound, a lot of you are asking me how I did that. When you open up your keys here, there's a little E here, and this stands for your envelope box. And so click that, and you can control your envelopes, and there's an envelope for pitch bend. And so you can draw an automation. You can do high, low, and people like Oshi and other producers use pitch bend on their 808s, like I feel like every song. And so for Ableton users, this is a cool effect to get the same gliding sound. And that's pretty much it on my drum rack. The only thing I have is a drum parallel glue compressor, and this is another Ableton stock plugin that I tweaked a little bit. It's called Drum Full Parallel, and it just makes it stand out more. And that's it for the drum part. Let's just have a listen one more time.
Niggas know it's mine. Already got someone that. Where you at on the map? I come to where you at.
And so I guess things to take away from this is raise the volume on your drums if you use Ableton, because it comes at -12 dB. EQ, compress, and for your 808s, don't try to oversimplify it, or don't try to go crazy over it. Distortion is on every 808 song nowadays, I guess, and make use of the glide. And that's pretty much it. Part 2 is coming out soon. Thanks, guys.